With the Bundesliga title race finally beginning to heat up, it appears as though both Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich are starting to feel the pressure of competing for silverware. Today, we are going to take a look at why so many points are being dropped by both of these teams. But before we do, please don't forget to subscribe.
Do it.
There's no better place to start off than last weekend, where Borussia Dortmund produced one of the most ironic classic Bundesliga games, arguably of all time. They ended up taking the lead in the 92nd minute, having already bottled a 2-0 advantage. However, Stuttgart, who were down to 10 men, ended up scoring a late equaliser in the 97th minute. This leaves Borussia Dortmund still 2 points off the top of the table, whereas they would have been level on points with Bayern had they kept their advantage. For Borussia Dortmund fans, this will be an absolute opportunity lost, when you consider the amount of teams who are finding it fairly straightforward to take points off of Bayern recently. They've drawn to Hoffenheim in the same weekend, suffered a shock exit in the DFB Pokal to Freiburg, been absolutely destroyed by Manchester City 3-0 in their first Champions League quarter-final leg, and a loss to Leverkusen prior to all of this was the final straw that broke the back of Julian Nagelsmann's tenure at Bayern Munich. Up to this point, Nagelsmann had held a perfect record in the Champions League, was in the quarter-finals of the DFB Pokal, and was doing fairly well with a game in hand against, at the time, first place, Borussia Dortmund. Out of the remaining fixtures, it looks like RB Leipzig's trip to the Allianz Arena could prove to be the biggest stumbling block for Bayern Munich, considering they only drew 1-1 with them earlier in the season, even under Julian Nagelsmann. It's got to be said that even teams fighting for their lives in the relegation battle may also prove to be a point of concern for the record champions, as they have to see out every game clean, or else Dortmund could overtake them. Speaking of Dortmund, it appears to be that games against Europa League reigning champions Eintracht Frankfurt and a fierce derby against Borussia Mönchengladbach will be the most difficult games for them to get a consistent 3 points out of. This could prove to be a phenomenal title race, as both sides have some fairly equal fixtures coming down to the end, with only 2 points separating the sides at this moment in time. I don't think many people would be reasonably willing to back Bayern Munich to fall apart this much and lose the Bundesliga at this point in the season. However, this is a critical week for the record champions, as they must overturn a 3-goal deficit to Manchester City if they still harbour aspirations of being European champions once again this season. Let's just see what Thomas Tuchel can do. So what do you think? Why are all of these points being thrown away? Who do you think will win the Bundesliga? And can Bayern Munich overturn the 3-goal deficit and send Manchester City out of the Champions League in spectacular fashion? Let me know down in the comments. And with that being said, see you next time.